So welcome to Deep Dive with Dr. D. Glad everyone's here. I have my good friend Cathie Day with me today. This is going to be fun. I've created the normal set of questions. So like, follow, do all that stuff. I usually do my shameless plug for my book. I kind of just did that. You can buy it wherever you buy books locally. You can get Grit Over Shame at Pearl Street Books or at Gerald's. Locally online, geralds.com. I've got this down to an art form.
Good.
And then Amazon, paperback, ebook, and an audiobook on Audible with me narrating it. There it is. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so
Thanks
glad
for being willing.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
As this has transpired, I'll think of people and I'm like, oh, I want to have that person on, and you for sure. This is going to be a good episode to talk about, our journey as friends, you as a human.
Absolutely.
You're one of my favorite people in the world.
We've known each other a long time. And because we've known each other and I love you, that's the reason that I'm giving up my Sunday morning, which is usually my sacred time.
Because I just asked you.
You just asked me and I'm like,
yeah.
So I'm here on Sunday morning because of our relationship. And I do appreciate the invitation as well. So.
Yeah. And, Tyler, we were talking about, Tyler earlier. He has been one, and I hope he hears this, to say, Dad, you should try this. You should try this. So it's part of why I resisted TikTok, but then we kind of blew up on TikTok in some ways. Daisy actually did. Now the memory of Daisy.
Yes.
And then he's like, you should do a podcast. No. And then you should have guests. Mm-hmm. And so he was my first guest. And so, son, if you're listening, I'm having guests. And it's been really cool.
Oh, it's great. I think having conversations like this is one of the things that makes our community stronger, and the more we have, the better.
Yeah,
because that's what it's all about. You got to see people.
I'm with you. Yeah. I think of my friend Henry. He's doing that in his own way with the radio station.
Yeah, I'm super excited about
that. Oh God, I just lost his name.
I don't know.
He was principal, educator. Jesus!
No, there's
he was
a
the
lot.
Principal at Lincoln. Oh, Johnny Graff.
John Graff.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
He does this kind of work too, and I agree with you that the more we do
when he does his walks.
Yeah.
When he walks.
Yeah.
No, I think that's we more of that. Some of my favorite times are the times I spend at the farmers market. Talking to people I've never met before, talking to people I have met before.
Yeah.
Listening to people, following up on conversations that we had the week before, just because you got to know each other to have a community.
And doing it like this is online, people can just listen to this, but outside of a keyboard, right?
Oh, God,
like where we can see and understand and feel.
Oh, absolutely.
And So
I don't count the online conversations as actual conversations to build relationships. They're important, and there are connections made there. But I think unless you can look that person in the eye, you can see them, you can look at how they're reacting and responding to you. I don't think that there's a replacement for that. So.
No. There's not.
No.
It's a whole different medium. Okay, this is bugging me.
What?
Alexa, clear notifications. I don't know why. I don't even know if anyone ever notices. Probably not, but it's doing its blinking thing. It's just, I can see it in my peripheral. Random shit that I worry about. So let's do this. And this is, most guests don't know I do this. So this is kind of off the cuff. Introduce yourself to the world that doesn't know Cathie Day. Who are you? What do you do? What do you love?
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Well, I would talk about the most important thing about myself, which is that I'm a grandmother. And because my family is really my priority. If I had to layer my life as a sandwich. And so I'm a grandmother. I'm a teacher. And I think that really is what forms everything that I do, is my love for my family, my love for young people, because they're really what fulfills me. They energize me. They're exhausting on one hand, but they energize me on the other hand. And I usually take things that happen to me at school, and then I carry those with me, and I think about what did I learn? What was that experience like that day with those kids? And then how can I carry that into some actionable, I don't know, event, something that I can do, something that I can say, in order to make the world a better place. That's really where I come from.
Yeah.
As far as the things that I want to do to make my life
Mm-hmm.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
As far as just like what I like to do for fun and
Yeah.
like other the more frivolous side
Yeah.
of life. I like to take risks. I like to do things that are a tiny bit dangerous because then I feel more alive when I do those kinds of things. Horseback riding, motorcycle riding.
Yeah.
Like to learn as much as I can. Learning and loving. I think your brain has infinite capacity.
So grandmother,
That's it.
that came right out of the gate.
That's my very if I ever wanted to be known as anything, I would want to be known as a good grandmother.
Yeah.
Grandmother
Have that
and parent.
commonality.
It's the most important thing.
Yeah. I just sent a message to grandson Anthony. I call him grandson number 1 and number 2. There's no value to that. That's just the order, you know.
Well, except I wouldn't want to be number 2. I mean, there's no value.
Well, Alaric is absolutely amazing, but
he is.
I just set up, a dinner date because being a grandfather is
It's huge.
I say, being a father has been my most important role in life, but as we age and transition now, with Anthony and Alaric, being a grandfather is the most important role.
Yes.
And it's a really fun role. It's a really meaningful role. As I've watched you with your journey, 3, like, wow,
I know.
this is crazy. I think it's a really important role in family systems.
Very important.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the reason it's so important too is because you're supporting Anthony. Is it Alaric or Alaric?
Alaric.
Alaric. You're
Yes.
supporting them, but you are just as much then you're supporting
Tyler,
yeah. Right?
And their moms. Yeah.
And their moms, right? Because you're there. You're like an additional parent, really, and parenting is so important. And I think that we don't often have any. We have no leadership about parenting. We have no role models, right?
Yeah.
So you're able to provide that.
Yeah.
There's no how do you learn how to parent? Other than just watching the world. Every once in a while there's parenting classes offered, but it's just one of those crazy things to me when it's the most important thing we do, but nobody ever really teaches you how to do it.
And there is no handbook, is there?
No, that's what I mean. And so
and anyone can go have a baby and then
learn
boom.
by watching. And I think a lot of us do you only go with what you don't want to do, like, oh hell no, I'm not doing what my parents did,
right? Or I want to do what my parents, but
that's only if you have been raised seeing other good parents, right? So it's kind of a crazy thing when you think about it, how we learn how to do it.
Interesting.
You're a great grandpa, I can tell just by watching all the things that you post and the way that you talk about them.
Yeah, they're fun. I love how they're very unique selves. Yeah, it is. So work life, professionally, tell the world about you, because you do a lot.
I do. And I would say, it's funny when you say work, because I really feel like I'm a teacher, obviously. That school, when you say school, to me, that's not work. And so when I have gotten to get up and go, been lucky enough to get up and go to school for decades. And it never it's hard and I'm tired sometimes, but it has never felt to me like a job necessarily, or work. And so hugely rewarding. The other things that I'm involved in are they're all volunteer. So I also don't really look at those as work either, because they're fulfilling. And then I choose that because those are the things that energize me. Running a nonprofit that helps cancer patients. My work with law enforcement has been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. Can talk about more about that. And then my work, of course, in the school board is just where my heart lies with the Ellensburg community, with the children of the Ellensburg community, with the students, and in particular with the schools, because they're so important to everything else that we want to do.
That's where we met, isn't it?
We met, we met because I think we met working on
the Recovery High School.
The Recovery High School.
With Jeff.
And, right, well, we rolled you into that, but then we started working up at the alternative high school. Remember,
Yeah.
because I called you because I knew that you.
Oh,
had done
Jesus,
work
you
with
did. That's right. You did.
with families
When it was
to-
still on campus.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was a soup sandwich, and I was like,
Yeah.
we got to get somebody up here that.
That's
can
right. I remember
walk.
the call.
Yes, because I could tell when I went up there, I was like, these people aren't seeing these kids. They're not seeing where
Yeah.
they've been. They're not seeing where they need to go. They're not
Yeah.
seeing where they want to be. And I was like, David will, and we'll get him up there. And remember, because you came up and you spoke and you talked about
Yeah.
family systems.
Yes.
And that's how. And then from there,
We're going
we
way back.
shared.
Yeah.
And then we shared that we had some common dreams. One of which was to get that recovery high school, which is still something I want to work on. Which
Yeah.
was what I was gonna
Yeah.
piggyback on when we
So
talked about
2000
Peers Rising.
13, 14, like,
Oh, it's got to be before that even, yeah.
well, because
I'm
I
thinking-
earned my I was in my undergraduate 2009 to 2011, then I went in my master's 2011, 2012.
So I bet it was because it was
Yeah.
very shortly after I got into the library, and I started in the library 2011.
Yep.
And I was mentoring a new teacher that was just teaching in the alternative high
Okay.
school program, and
Okay.
and when I went up there, and that was not to throw any of them under
It's
the
fine.
bus or be critical of them, but when I went up there and saw what was happening, I realized that the teachers weren't supported.
They didn't have support.
The
I
admin
remember.
wasn't
Yeah,
supported.
yeah,
There was
no.
zero support,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and those students, the students nearest and dearest to my heart, are often the ones simply because people don't know what
Cast
to do.
aside.
Yeah.
So
It's like, well, we don't know what to do. Let's put him over here.
Cast
right?
aside.
And we
him
don't know what to
over
do
there.
with this kid, so let's put him,
Put him
over,
over
there.
there.
Right? And I
him over there.
lovingly have always called them the misfit toys.
Yeah.
But my absolute favorite kids
Mhm.
always.
hmm
So that's how we met.
So we have known each other a long time.
Oh yeah.
13, almost 14 years.
Yep.
You've always, I say this about a lot of people, but I have a lot of favorite people, but you're one of my favorite people easily because of that commonality we have about those kids.
hmm
Like, no, they're not those kids.
No.
They're kids.
Right.
And we need to bring them in.
A conversation I had the other day, because I currently teach alternative high school. Even that name I'm not really super excited about. But the program I'm in, all of my students are with me because they're credit deficient, or it's a dropout recovery kind of program. And they quizzed me the other day, like, Ms. Day, 'cause I
Nice.
sit with them all the time.
Good.
We got to know who's your favorite. Who are your favorite kids, right? And I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
my
oh,
favorite
yeah.
kids. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, don't do that.
Like King Lear, right? And
Yeah.
I said, you can't. I said, I love all my kids, but I said, I'll tell you this. I said, my favorite kids to teach would be such and such group of kids. I said, but I'll tell you this. I said, my favorite kids to spend time with. I said, the kids I would call if the shit hit the fan. If I'm out somewhere and I need someone to
Some
save
help.
my
Yeah.
butt, right?
Oh,
Or
wow.
I need someone to fix something for me. I said,
Wow.
I'm calling you guys because you guys will get it done. And they were like, oh hell yeah, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
really loved that.
Wow.
'Cause
That's
it's
interesting. Yeah.
these kids know what life is. I mean, they know how to walk through the world when the world's not friendly to you.
Yeah.
And you can't teach that to kids who have
Yeah.
never faced adversity. And I've tried to express that to them, that I'm not saying you're lucky. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
saying that
Yeah.
you should be glad that these things that have happened to you have happened, but it's preparing you, albeit in a painful way. It's preparing you for success if you will allow that to be the case.
Super cool. Thank you for that introduction. It's super cool. So, lifelong educator. You don't feel like you have a job because you feel like you go to school.
I love it. Yes.
I'm comparing it to my work on campus. I've been doing it for 13 years and I still love doing
Yeah.
it, right? And it doesn't feel like a job. Like, I get to do this. It's pretty cool. So that work, your work with the Gretchen Weller Foundation from the very beginning, right?
Yeah, Mary Gordon,
Yeah.
Heather Stuman,
Yeah.
and myself. We founded
From
it
the beginning.
10 years ago.
Which, those that don't know, it's a local nonprofit that supports families with a cancer diagnosis, and it's all local to Ellensburg, Kittitas County,
Yep, Kittitas County.
which I really love, and a great, great organization. If you don't know anything about it, just Google Gretchen Weller Foundation. Gretchen and her family are just like...
They are.
Wow.
It's so fun watching those kids.
Yeah, so cool. And that's been an entity now for, has it been a decade?
It's 10 years. Yeah,
10, yep.
we're coming up on our 10-year
Yep.
fundraiser celebration in
Yep.
October. Yeah.
I've attended a few of the fundraisers, and it's just really cool. And then your work with the school board, great. Like when you got elected, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And yeah, you're a reserve officer with EPD. I love that. And all the way back to the beginning, a grandmother,
Yep.
your most important role. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Super cool. So let's go to a question.
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, you did your homework, I'm sure. You're like, I know.
Thought about it.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, so this is good. You've worn many hats over the years. Educator, school board member, reserve police officer, and community leader. Like I know, we don't have to go far in Ellensburg to say your name. People are like, oh, I know Cathie in different roles, powerful leadership roles. How have those roles shaped the way you see people and service?
Well, I think I'm not sure. That's kind of a chicken or the egg question. It's a hard question because I think that I've always, from a very young age, and I wouldn't be able to tell you why, that I've felt like we are obligated to take care of each other, and that a community has the capacity to take care of everybody who is a part of it, yet we choose not to. And that's been something that...
But where does that come from for you?
I'm not really sure. That's what I'm saying. When
Yeah.
I read that question, I'm like, it's one of those things. It's like when people ask me why you're a teacher, why you became a teacher, and how things evolve. So I became a teacher because I loved English and writing and books and stories.
And was that from your family? Was that from...
My family loves to read, all those things. But then the reason I love being a teacher is because I love to interact with young people. And so, things evolve, and then you go back and you're like, well, what's the genesis of this? And, I don't know. I've always worked. I got my first job when I was 11 years old, riding my bicycle to the blueberry farm. Picking blueberries because I wanted a horse.
Where was that?
Woodinville.
Oh, Woodinville. Yeah. Oh, wow. Way back when.
I wanted to buy a horse.
Okay.
My family couldn't afford a horse. And so that's what I started doing, and I saved, and I finally got my first horse when I was 14, and I've never lived without a horse. I've always had, I love them. And so I think that being out, I've been out in the community a lot, since whatever that would be. I think I was in fifth or sixth grade. And then watched people. My father was remarkably helpful. He always would help people. If somebody asked him to do something, he never said no. And so that probably has some kind of influence.
So you saw that. You had that example.
People say just because you can doesn't mean you should. Well, that actually does apply to helping people. If you can help someone, you should. And so that's always been a fundamental belief of mine. But like I said, it's one of my deepest frustrations with the world is that we could probably give everybody what they need, but we make our choices not to do that. And that's just, that's something that I want to, as I walk through life, take every opportunity when I'm able to give somebody something that they might need. It's difficult when you're, if you're, I was over in Everett, I end up on the west side a lot because I have family and friends over there. If you pull up like I did in your nice car, I got a Toyota 4Runner.
Yep.
I'm sitting there with my designer coffee, and there's someone's at the intersection, a person who's not able to be clean, a person who's clearly not warm, a person who's probably not healthy. And somewhere I think that it's not a good idea for me to help them because I'm going to somehow contribute to their bad choices.
Sure.
Then you're just an asshole. You don't, that's a horrible way to look at our shared humanity that some people don't deserve to,
and isn't it
have, to
just
have
how we interact with that other human, how we look at that other human?
But we don't even look at them as another. We totally forget our shared humanity. So I clearly have so much more than I need. And then I have no idea why this person's making these choices. I don't know what happened to them. I don't understand any of that. Now, do I need to give them $100 bill? Probably not. But if I have in my car, if I have a hat, if I have a coat, if I have a blanket, if I have a cup of coffee or something like that, the lack of empathy or and I guess in a lot of cases, the presumptuousness that if I give this person something, they're going to misuse
we make a lot of assumptions about.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
A, B, and C is D.
Those kinds of things stick with me. It's really hard for me sometimes to see those kinds of interactions and then know that, as far as a community.
I'm going to cut you off on purpose. I don't know your childhood. And did you have that kind of struggle?
No.
You're not a person in recovery, and we're going to talk about this.
I have always had more than I need materially.
And I'm asking that because that's what's always drawn me to you and wanted to know your why. Like, I'm a person in long-term recovery. I lived a terrible childhood, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of my why for seeing people differently. Mm-hmm. Your trajectory wasn't necessarily that. So what's your why?
I think it's just empathy.
But where does that come from for you?
I'm not sure. I think I've always loved animals. It's really hard for me to see anybody suffering or in pain and not do something about it. Try to fix it. I don't know. I don't know if it's just...
Well, some of it's your dad.
Brain.
Your dad.
Yeah.
He saw someone who needed help. Your mom?
Yeah. No.
That's okay.
Not so much.
We're not judging, but
right.
You didn't get it from there. Did you have a grandparents or just, interesting.
No, and
because kids are drawn to you.
And I'm drawn to them. I mean, it's that, we're physically we're energized. Scientifically.
Yeah.
And I also think that that's part of what you put out is what is going to be reflected back to you. And I read and have always read just everything all the time.
You're a voracious reader.
Yeah, and that might be part of it too, because I think when you read, you accumulate the experiences of the world through the stories that you read.
And you read all genres, I'm guessing.
I do.
I read something somewhere, that the more someone reads, those people are some of the most empathetic, understanding, knowledgeable people on walking the earth.
Yeah, because you're getting the stories of the world, right? Yeah. I mean, and if you don't have stories or can't imagine stories, it's interesting. We do, this is related, so I'm not going on a real tangent here, but fine. In law enforcement, you do a lot of training that involves what are called mock scenes. You probably know what those are. Yep. And so whoever's in the training, like there's 8 of us or whatever, like a couple people, the trainer will pull you out and be like, okay, this is what I want you to do. This is going to be a welfare check. So David, I want you to, say that you've had this, you're a single father, you've been working really hard, you're in recovery, you just, you're 6 months sober, but you're getting evicted and you are like desperate. So someone's done a welfare check because they can hear you in your house. You're upset. Oh yeah. And so we do that a lot, and they pull me a lot to be the actor. Because for some reason, like if I just sit for a second and I think about that, I will literally...
You can go into that
I'll
role.
cry. I'll start to cry. Because in my mind, I just am imagining, good grief, here's a person doing everything right, wanting the support, reaching out, and it's just not there, and so some of the guys are always like, oh my gosh, why don't make it so realistic, and I'm like, well, that's what we're trying to do, right?
Right.
But it's not,
you're able to put yourself in that place,
right? And it's not construed. I mean, it truly, I just think, my God, what the things that people go through. When I had to speak in an assembly at the high school once, and I made the mistake of starting it with talking about my students. As soon as I start to talk about my students and their lives and how brave they are, I just well up because of it comes from love for them, but it also just comes from, like I said, when you put yourself in their shoes and you see how hard some people try, how brave they are, how smart they are, and regardless of all of that, they're still getting their asses kicked. Someone has to help them. Yeah.
Question number 2. This is great. And this means a lot to me, just thinking about this time period. You were there for me during my dissertation process. And you've supported, I know, so many others in the way you supported me behind the scenes. What draws you to mentoring and walking alongside people during challenging seasons of their lives?
It's all for my own learning. It really is. I mean, it comes from, like I've already shared, the part of my heart that wants to always help people when I can. But it's also, I get so much and I learn so much. My life is enriched when I walk beside people. And when you talk about mentoring, remember when we had that fabulous mentor program, which was something else I was going to talk to you about today when we talk about peers rising. And the young woman that I mentored she's so fantastic. And we still connect and we are able to get together. We haven't gotten together for almost a year now, but we connect online. And my life is just better because I have her in it now. And there are a few people, but there are very few people who I would say that my life didn't get better because I have them in it. And so like when I had that opportunity, when you were working on your dissertation, I was like, I've never worked really closely with somebody working on, I've helped former students before with, master's theses and things like that, but it was primarily just like, they wanted me to look it over. But with you, it was really fun because we had been working on that content together. And I also was invested in wanting to destigmatize some of the way that we talk about
people in
recovery and substance use and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, plus I knew that for you, it was going to be life changing. And if you can walk beside people when they're going through transformations, you transform too. And so that was one of my, I loved it. I loved our meetings in the library. I remember your little house on Fifth, and I'd come in and we'd have coffee and we'd sit in that little that little table. I loved that. I was getting as much out of it as you were.
It meant a lot to me because I was, it was on my calendar, and I would go and I would sit in the library, and I've always felt really safe being vulnerable with you in the ways that I have. And people might think, well, that was really simplistic, but I was really stuck and I needed a place where I could just focus and do my work. It was also, you may or may not know this, where I got another opportunity to watch you in your element. And I would go in your little office space in the library, and there were always kids.
Yes. There were kids in that doorway all day long.
Always. And I don't know if you know how powerful that is for those kids that felt safe to be able to come and talk to you, where you could tell their guard was down, they felt comfortable. And we have a lot of great educators and administrators, but you're one where I know they felt like they could be you with you.
Right.
And that wow, that's really cool. And, I was the older guy sitting at a table working on my dissertation. I just want you to know that I've always felt that way with you. I've always felt safe with you. And man, we need so many more Cathie days in the educational system who aren't just in a position of power and just like so worried about all this stuff. Stop fucking worrying about that and let's worry about these kids. And I got to see you in your element, and that was really freaking cool. So cool.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I know you're doing that, down in CELA.
And like I said, it's really what fills my heart, because it isn't that's really that's just me with the kids. I love those kids. That's where it all comes from is being able to see them, get to know them. They're just amazing individuals once you take the time to have that conversation and to put the other stuff aside. Some in education, we get pretty hung up, I think, sometimes on academics. And yes, that's what we're here to do. We're here to teach kids, and kids need to learn. But until you see the kid and understand them, they're not going to learn anyway. So you really need to back up and have that relationship. And
I'm thinking of Tyler. Him and he works for the ESD, and he's with the Ellensburg School District. And I think of you when him and I just have small conversations about. He's like, "Man, Dad, these kids are going." And thank God he's there, and thank God you're there. And this is about you. This isn't about me, but it's made me think of the work I get to do on campus with the kids up there, because different period of their life. But, the fact that these kids allow us to be involved in their lives. Right. I mean, it's a pretty...
It's a privilege. And that's when you're asking why you walk alongside people, because I do get as much out of it as they do. It's a privilege. It's an honor. They're going to teach you as much as I would imagine there's a lot of times for me that you learn more from your students than they learn from you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
In a big way.
Yeah, super cool.
So that's part of that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Shifting gears a bit. Question 3, we're doing good. These usually last about an hour, so I think we're rolling along. I don't like have a clock or anything,
Okay.
but as an original board member of the Recovery Community Organization that I started, KCRCO, which is now Peers Rising, what did you hope the work would become? Because Cathie was one of the original board members. We met in the house over on 5th. So what did you hope the work would become, and what does it mean to you now to see it where it is now?
Well, my hope was that it would be a catalyst, a community catalyst to help bring the issues in our community surrounding substance use disorder to the front, destigmatize as much as possible, and then build supports. And it's done all of that. And it's continuing to do all that.
Yep.
And the steps I would hope, as far as it grows and evolves, like I've inserted a few things as we've been talking, would be that we must have more treatment. And we need more treatment for young people. And then we need a recovery element in the education system because we still don't have any reentry. We have no way to embrace the kids that are able to go out and get treatment. When they come back, nothing has changed. Like there's we don't do anything, which is just
we're thrusting them right back into the
and for
same.
anybody that understands that whole cycle, that's just absurd.
And then we're mad at the kid that they're not successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you teach a young person? You're going to need a new group of friends, right?
Yeah.
Hardest thing ever. How do you teach them that? How do you help them with that? How do you support them with that? How do you make sure that when they come back and they're trying to be successful and take opportunities and leave some of those things behind, how do you support that and do that for them? And we have pieces like what Tyler does, but we don't have anything. It needs to be public and formal and seen in order to be acknowledged. I feel in some cases as valid. So when you don't have a program for something, when there's no public facing program, it means that the community doesn't see the validity. And I don't like
you're
that.
Right.
And that's why when now that we've got Peers Rising, it's there. It's public. People go there.
509 Teens is
509 Teens is amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a support.
Yeah.
And that's just been huge for our community. So and I'm hoping we'll be able to build on that. And get more programs.
Yeah. Did you think way back when we were in 2019 when it was you, me, Brett? I was just thinking about him. This morning, he was the preacher at Katrina's church. Derek.
Yeah, Derek. Yeah, and then Pam.
Yeah,
rolled in for quite a while once we were.
Yeah.
Oh no, in my mind, I knew that the time was right.
Yeah.
But I also didn't know, how much is this going to take? How long is this going to take? And then when we had, I never knew who the person was who let us use that building.
Oh,
but whoever that was,
Ken.
That was massive.
It was huge. Ken File. He's like a father figure to me.
Okay.
I want to get him in this room.
Yeah,
he's like, let me think about it. But
that was
huge. It was massive. He handed me the keys and he says, he didn't even say 6 months. I don't think he ever said that, but we had no money.
No.
And he literally handed me the keys and
deserves a ton of gratitude.
Yeah.
That was a giant piece to that, to have that space, to get that started, to get people in there, and
massive.
And so I think it's been beyond my expectations.
Yeah, same.
So I'm excited.
And they're, Peers Rising they're in Yakima now. They're Brandy's doing. Yeah,
I know.
And
I just think
the teen side is what I did not expect. And I actually admit now that I was resistant to, we need to focus on, but it's been powerful. And that there's the 509 Teen Center. They're working with Dawn up in the Upper County.
Yeah, I saw
with
that.
the teen, and
which is so needed. And
that's
just wonderful.
Big time.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I think that's great.
Very good. Public service family, which you've indicated, and I'm not surprised, is the most important. And leadership, what you do, you have this steady presence about you. Do you ever get fired up? Don't answer that yet. What helps you stay grounded and clear about what matters most?
For me, it's just knowing myself and knowing what I value, and trying to only allow the things that align with my values in, and then either get fired up, because I do, about the things that don't align with my values.
What gets you fired up?
If I have any control of it. Unfairness, lack of treating people well. Those are the things.
And I think that I think you and I are like, cause I go to Safeway, Safeway's right there. So we walk and there's days where there's people out there, community members standing with the sign or whatever. And there's days I just walk by and say hi. And there's days I walk by and say, hey, do you want something to eat? And there's days some people will go, well, I hand them $20 and I don't say anything, you know. Do you think it's the unwillingness or inability for people to just look at them as humans?
I think it's the lack of seeing them, yes.
Yeah.
And the
and for our youth too,
yes,
right? Yeah,
right.
for sure.
To not stop and have a conversation, to not take the time to even just like ask somebody what their name is. There's a popular book right now, and we use it at Selah High School in one of our classes, and it's called "What Happened to You."
Oh,
and it's the question that you ask instead of what's wrong with you. And then it's different stories and conversations about trauma and resilience and things like that. And, and that's part of what I think the way that, the words that we choose to use, if we say that homeless people are a problem in our community, that's not the way to phrase it, right? Our community doesn't support people that don't have a place to live, and you kind of have to turn it all around and look at really what are we talking about here? Because if we're a community, we're responsible for each other, and so if you're walking past a Ellensburg community member that clearly needs something,
is struggling,
what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And I sometimes I'll post, and I'm sure you've seen it, I do my before and after, and I'm like, and I've done this with law enforcement training, and I get it, but when we look at it as them versus us, I always say, I am them.
Yeah.
That is me. When you see that community member who's in a mental health crisis, drug addicted state, whatever it is, that's me.
Right.
I was them.
Right.
I am them.
Right.
And if we can just try to look at this from a different angle rather than just the latest soundbite or latest craziness that's going on, and just look at our community members as community members from a different angle, I think we'll get a lot further.
Right. Or think about what if that was my brother? What if that was my husband? What if that was my friend? There are just ways that I think that the lack of connection, our public policies, I don't think always acknowledge our shared humanity. There's people that deserve and people that don't deserve, and that's a wrong way to look at it. Those are the things that I tend to get fired up about. But I think that as long as you have to know yourself really well in order to walk with calm, right? And you have to know what you really value. And I don't know that everyone has ever had the chance or the opportunity to decide what are the most important things to me. What am I going to let in, and what am I going to choose not to get fired up about? So, there are plenty of things that are probably out of your control. And those are the things that are probably not worth getting fired up about. But there's a lot that is within our control, especially when you, like I said, you just look at your own community. You can do many things. Look at the things that you've done, right? You can change your community. You can have an impact.
Well, so I read it a long time ago. I can get internally fired up about all these things going on way out there. But if I just focus on my circle of influence in my community, man, I can make a lot of change. And my hope, and why I keep doing the things I do, is that'll bleed out.
It will. The microcosm is reflected in the larger world. I mean, that is what it is. We have a saying down at Selah High School: you control your 20 square feet. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
And if you have yours and I have mine, and
and
then that will reflect and be mirrored into the larger picture. And so, I mean, that's a fact. And I think that's part of what I'm trying to get across too, is that you, in your community, if you don't stop and see everyone, if you don't take the time to have a conversation, and if you don't take the time to recognize, validate, then you're kind of deciding, I deserve this, but that person doesn't. And that's not acknowledging our shared humanity.
Have you considered running for any other elected office position?
Not immediately, because I wouldn't have the time to commit to it, but when I retire, I might consider something like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna remember that. Yeah. No, good. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. This is your opportunity, to say to the world a message of hope. So what's a message of hope or encouragement you would give to someone who listens to this now or in the future, who feels overwhelmed by responsibility or self-doubt?
Oh, yeah. This was when I saw this, I was like, that's a really good question. And I think, so my message the only message I can give is what I would do, what I do myself if I'm overwhelmed or doubting, is that I prioritize. And again, that's with what are my values, right?
Yeah.
What do and for me, I always think love and freedom. Those are the two things that I roll through my head all the time. And then slow down. Because I think we're gotta do this, I gotta do that. If you really prioritize, there aren't that many things you really have to do.
Yeah.
And you slow down.
Yeah.
And then
the next indicated thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Slow down and then make sure that you're always moving forward, even if it's just a little tiny bit.
Oh, I like it.
So
that's perfect.
That's a 3-step process.
Yeah.
And I also hope that people ask for help, even if they don't see it immediately available. Like continue to ask for help, because there is someone who will help.
You're absolutely right. I say this because I say, I've been able to achieve a certain amount of success in my life, and none of it has been in isolation. None of it has been without the help of others, and it just takes asking for that help. It can be the most difficult thing to do, but man, the second that I've asked for help, it's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing, you've asked me a lot about community and stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing that bothers me the most is that when we do have people asking for help and we can't connect them with it, because there are situations where you're like,
there's barriers.
My God, I don't know what to do, And so when you're doing everything right, you're doing everything you can, you're asking for help, and then the help isn't there. Those are the community issues that we all need to put our heads together to solve.
I like it. Okay, here we go. This is it. I always get a little nervous on this one. What's a question you've always wanted to ask me?
All right. So, this is a serious question. It's going to sound like a lighthearted question.
Okay.
But I'm very interested in risk taking, why people take risks. And so my question for you is, you're a motorcycle rider. Okay. We both know that riding a motorcycle is not safe.
Yeah. Go on.
Right. And so I guess my question for you is, what is it about that kind of risk taking that fuels you or feeds you, or what do you get out of it? Why do you like to do that? Because there's nobody that rides motorcycles that isn't doing it partially for that reason, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a great question. I look at it from a couple different angles. One, I ride a motorcycle because of Johnny Revell. He took me on my first motorcycle ride, and that's who Johnny's named after, when I was just a boy, 8 years old, in sunny Arizona, and I was both scared to death and just completely exhilarated because I felt safe with him.
Mix,
yeah. And I'll be honest, I there are times when I'm riding my bike where I have to just like calm myself, because I do get fearful about anything could happen at any time and I could die, right? But I also, there is nothing quite like being on, it's that thing on the open road. I get in a meditative state. It's just amazing. And then it makes me think, I'm like every time, you tell someone you ride a motorcycle, they're like, oh, they tell you about how someone died.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my God, it's like, can you not?
Yeah, right.
And, I also, so I bring it back to just someone said to me a long time ago, you're never going to know unless you ask, and you're never going to know unless you do. And I added that part, but, life's short. I don't want to be on my deathbed, if I'm on my deathbed, and go, God, I wish I would have tried that, or and I don't do everything that rolls around in my head, but
you want you want an empty bucket.
You
want a bucket list by the time you're done. Yeah.
And it comes from having rebooted my life at 29 from a complete shit show to living the pretty good life I have today. I want to have an impact, and I want to leave a legacy, and I want my grandsons and my son has said this. He's like, yeah, God, my dad, he said it in the way of, I feel like I can never live up to you. And I'm like, no, don't do that, dude. I want you to try. I want you to ask. I want you to do. And I'm thinking of me and Katrina and just her starting this preschool. I take risk because I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm fortunate. Because there are people out there that wish they could have the life I had. And I don't stay at
opportunity to take the risk.
So I'm going to capitalize on that. And to close this up, to give other people hope.
Yeah.
Like, oh, David did that? I can fucking do that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Or I could
let's
ask
go.
him how I do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Let's
love
go.
it.
And just, you've talked a lot about young people, giving young people hope and courage, and if I can give them an opportunity through me taking risks, then let's go.
I like it.
There it is. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me.
It's been
This
great.
has been
It's
really
really
cool.
fun.
I'm sure
Appreciate
this will
your
be
time.
helpful for a lot of people. Until next time.